we're here for the definitive guide to tapping marketing talent today. When we think about the context of today, talent is a huge topic, not least because where on earth is it? It's one of the big questions facing us all. But it's obvious, or it's easy to say perhaps, hire more, invest more, do more with them. But what does that actually mean? From a Dharma perspective, what does that actually mean for you as a marketing leader?
Investing in people shouldn't just be a conversation for today. It should be a constant part of anybody's strategy. We all know that it's super hard to find really good people, and we also know it's really hard to retain good people, but it's also more cost effective to retain good people as well. So
I think one of my core principles is hiring people that are better than me, with the whole aim of kind of creating a succession plan based on the people, so that they have, they've got something to work towards.
One of the first things I wanted to do was to break the culture. And I think by breaking a culture that I wanted to evolve, that had a massive effect on the talent that was there and the talent that I wanted to bring in. And I think that as marketing leaders, often when you take on a new gig or you've got that opportunity to reset, I think that the element of hiring has got to be probably number one on your agenda once you've got your goals all cleared up.
Well, what I've found is that in the last while, a lot more talent has become available. It has been really challenging in the sort of last 6 to 8 years to hire marketing talent. And what I'm sort of seeing is that people don't just want a job, they want a journey.
And Mandisa, how, if at all, has that adapted, changed the team culture? So one that was very focused on a particular sector and perhaps then skill set over time, to different individuals with different perspectives, adding that to the mix, clearly with some help to the outcomes, but clearly also a difference then to the team dynamic.
I think the team dynamics is more around leveraging on different skills. I think there's an appreciation now to say, let's embrace people who don't necessarily have the traditional marketing experience, but someone who may come up with, with a different flavor to marketing. So I'm finding that there is that acceptance to embrace people from other industries as well, but also leveraging on the experiences as well.
Let's move on then to the next part of the discussion. We've mentioned some of the trends impacting talent and marketing, one of which was, of course, economic downturns. The other is also of course, hybrid working, that post-pandemic sort of grand experimentation we're looking at in terms of how and where we work. This is to all of you on the panel, but just quickly, how have you interpreted hybrid working? How's your company interpreted it for the marketing team?
So I was building the team, again, pretty much from scratch. I came in and broke it dramatically and then rebuilt it last year. And I had a choice as to where to build it or if to build it in a particular location. And I come from a large corporate background where I was working daily across EMEA and APAC and globally. And so hybrid was real life every day for the last 20 years. But it became clear as I was blueprinting out the org that there were a number of key roles that I really wanted to give them the opportunity to see each other at least a couple times a week, because the roles were so codependent that they could be done remotely and apart from each other, seeing each other every quarter, every 6 months maybe, but it would be better if they could actually, a couple times a week, be in a space, grab a coffee, have those conversations.
We've made a contract to each other within the team, what we commit to. So we'll try and be together on a Tuesday and a Wednesday or a Thursday or whatever else, actually kind of, thinking about it. So some practical things like that. I do think there's, I don't know how to best articulate it, but almost like a bit of a forgotten generation in this, which is individuals who started work during the pandemic and don't know any different. So the positive reinforcement or encouragement about back to the office is actually going to relearn what we all learnt when we were in our 20s and actually working. Which was
osmosis almost.
Exactly. And I think there's, again, on the softer side, but there'll be individuals who haven't learned that. And so sitting at home in your bedroom in your slippers has become quite normal.
We run an intern programme, and the most recent cohort, I think, are 8 interns in the UK that we brought in. Three of the interns rock up every day to the office. They like the free food and the free coffee. 3 interns full-time working from home, and then the other 2, I think, just come in and out. We've already offered contracts to the 3 that come into the office. And unfortunately, there is an element of bias in this because, they're there, they're present, they're keen to learn. And we as a business have struggled to empower the people who are the remote interns with the right enablement for them to do a great job.
What one thing do you want the audience to take from this conversation, tapping marketing talent today? Mandisa, I'm going to go to you first.
The point I wanted to add was that in terms of looking for kind of diverse talent, the other practical thing is also making sure you've got a diverse panelist of interviewers. So you're not necessarily choosing people based on your preference, but it's based on a company-wide decision where you also make sure that the people that are interviewing that individual are the stakeholders that will buy into that individual. And for me, that has been one of the key success factors.
Lovely point. Thank you, Mandisa. Oliver, do you next?
What's my one takeaway? We haven't really we talked a little bit about interns, but we didn't talk too much about, the obligation that we have as leaders to invest in young talent early on. And I think all of the points that we've talked about, from setting the right tone of culture, from finding the right skill sets, from specialists to generalists or whatever it is, I feel that we as marketing leaders have an obligation back to where we've come from to make sure that we are giving the next generation the right foot up.
I think it's probably down to leadership style as well. And actually, we talk about being authentic. I know that has become a little bit of a buzzword recently, but actually making sure that you're actually establishing a culture and where people can be transparent, where they do feel safe, that they feel safe to be able to talk to people, to talk to you, etc. So just really challenging ourselves, I suppose, on actually how we're setting the right tone.
I think that's something that as marketers we all need to look at inside our organizations is how are we represent, because again, I've worked at really big companies who may or may not have done a great job, but I certainly know how many CVs we got in. And if we're not treating people well, then, and you think about, we work so hard to make a good impression of the company with our prospects and customers and all the rest of that. And if we're doing massive damage to the brand with our recruitment processes, then that's a real shame.
Okay, food for thought. Thank you very much for your time, Mandisa, Mark, Joanne, Ollie. In particular, John, for stepping up last minute for the round table. We had a couple of illnesses, so thank you very much. Please give a hand to our panelists.